everyone, it's Alexis. Welcome to the Purple Zone. It's the beautiful month of September. Back to school season has come upon us. I know some of us have had kids back in school for a while. Some of those kids are just starting at the start of September, and I can still hear the statement from my grandmother, "Oh, you're footloose and fancy free." It resonates with me during this time of year because the kids are back in school. There's more routine in my life, and I really enjoy that. And part of that also is coupled with, okay, my kids are back in school. They're with me less often, which is good for kids. I like it when my kids are out of the house doing good things, and school is a good thing to do. And it also means that there's an uptick in parent groups. There's an uptick for my kids in using their cell phones because they're away. Maybe they're checking in with me, or they're checking in with you as your parent, as the parent, and they're doing more on their cell phone. And what I am going to share with you today is an article that I found that was posted in regards to social media and kids. And this article really is about big tech, Meta, the partnerships that Meta has created with parent groups, and how those impact us as parents, and thereby they impact our kids. This article it was actually posted on CNBC. This organization picked up a larger article that was posted on the Tech Transparency Project. You can go to their website. You can see the article. I highly recommend that you do that. This article is called Inside Meta's Spin Machine on Kids and Social Media. Now, this is a space you've heard me talk about these topics before. I've been on my own show talking about it. I've gone on the Ranch podcast with my pal Matt, and we've talked about it at length. And sometimes when people are in this space, they're offering their opinion, which is great. Opinion, insights, even feedback on different things that we're seeing. Those are needed. And sometimes when people are talking about these topics, they're offering through the lens of experience. And that's going to be what's different about this conversation today than what you may hear from other social media accounts and different groups. And I highly recommend going and following some of those accounts because I follow them. There's a couple of those that I follow. One is Scrolling to Death. Her name's Nikki, and she follows just a ton of social media and how it's impacting our kids and technology in schools. She is a parent of, I think, elementary school kids. And then she does stuff on the national level too. Chris Young from Protect Young Eyes. You can go, and he's got a social media page, but he's also got a website. He's got some really great resources. A guy named Ben, he is the IT guy. And I can't remember if he's the family IT guy, but he is also based in my town here in Idaho. And he has got some really incredible insights just in regards to how tech is impacting our kids and really what parents need to be aware of. So this article, I'm going to get to this article because it connects with some of the experiences that I have had, and then just some of the different policies really that are playing out in our schools and what we as parents, as caretakers, as community members, I could make a whole list, right? School board members, lawmakers, teachers, administrators, what we need to be aware of when we're seeing these different things play out and what we're seeing as what maybe are being shown as opportunities, but really might be more of a, when we look at it through a different lens, maybe a scheme to kind of promote a product. So ultimately, this article raises questions to ask yourself around Meta, parent group partnerships, schools, policies, and student safety. So what is Meta? Meta is the company behind Instagram and Facebook, and they are under heavy fire for the harm that their platforms cause to kids and teens. And we're seeing this right from depression and anxiety to eating disorders and cyberbullying. The risks are well documented, and they are really well documented in the book, The Anxious Generation. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend you do. It's also on Audible. It's like my favorite way to consume books is on Audible. I've also got a podcast several episodes back sharing my review. Like I basically give a book review of it, and it's a great conversation between me and my pal Matt. So definitely go check that out. But basically this article is saying that instead of facing problems head on, Meta has been running a sophisticated influence campaign to protect its brand and slow down regulation. And what I have observed just from, I'm not going to say from Meta, but from big tech in general, is that yes, when states try to create policy in regards to technology, I'm going to just put like big air quotes around big tech kind of comes in and tries to poo-poo all over those policies. And what is unfortunate is that too often big tech wins. Here are kind of like the key findings from this article that was put out. One, that Meta uses an array of influence tactics to try to shape the public narrative around kids and social media. And basically their goal is to counter the things that we're hearing about how Instagram or whatever can be harmful to our teens' health and safety. Another key finding says that Meta funds a collection of parent and safety groups, including the National PTA, that go to bat for its initiatives involving kids. Now, this article uses the line that go to bat for initiatives involving kids. And this is kind of where I come in with my experience. So I am a past state PTA president, meaning that National PTA is like the parent, like they are the OG PTA organization. They were started in 1897. Idaho, that's where I'm based, started its own PTA constituent association in 1905. And what that means is that we are connected to National PTA, but we operate as our own nonprofit. We get to decide what our priorities are. We are required to follow bylaws, and also not all of our how do I want to say this? Like not all of the things that we are, well, let me put it this way. Some of the things that National PTA promotes or is endorsing or does different things, we, like when I was the state PTA president, we did not endorse all of those things. So I think that's important to just kind of note that PTAs are different. They're all their own nonprofits. But also in this line where it says National PTA goes to bat for initiatives involving kids, I feel like that statement is it's like a little heavy-handed. And I'm going to get into what that means in a minute. But that's not to say that this partnership that National PTA has with Meta, there are some major questions that really do need to be asked as, parents, as schools, and National PTA. It needs to ask itself, especially like when different things, with what's happening. Another one of the key findings is that Meta created what was called the Trust, Transparency, and Control Lab that publishes reports in support of its kid-focused programs. And Meta also funds an array of academic research projects that some of these, I think, reports have made it look like there are benign impacts from Instagram. So this now, let me just talk about it through a research lens. When an organization like Meta funds its own research, or it funds research for another group to run a study, that poses some ethical questions that people must ask themselves. So if they find something different than what Meta wants, would Meta allow those findings to be published? It doesn't sound like it's a separate entity. So those are some really important things to note. How does Meta then, how are they carrying out their mission in terms of getting their product out in front of kids? Because let's get real, social media is a product and they make money off of us using it. And I'm not suggesting that it's bad. I mean, come on, I'm posting on Instagram. I'm also like a 40-year-old woman. And so I get to choose how I want to interact with some of these social media platforms. And I choose not to engage with a lot of different social media platforms. They're not for me. And also these social media platforms are being accessed by minors. And these social media platforms are negatively impacting minors. So that's where a lot of the challenges come in. So What kind of strategies then does Meta have to promote their products or get their products out to make it look like, hey, these are safe, benign things that parents can participate in? Well, one, as mentioned, they fund or partner with trusted organizations like National PTA to align themselves with parent voices. And National PTA is not the only parent organization that Meta partners or funds. It's just the one that is currently under fire right now. Meta sponsors research and labs that highlight the supposed benefits of Instagram while downplaying the harms. So a new investigation by the Tech Transparency Project sheds light on the extensive and often opaque apparatus that Meta uses to counter growing concerns that sites like Instagram can be harmful to kids' health and safety. So this is why we're talking about this right now, actually, is because of this article that was published by the Tech Transparency Project. Meta is using these tactics all appear to have one goal: stopping or slowing efforts to regulate social media in ways that could hurt Meta's bottom line. It's important to remember, I have to remind myself on a regular basis that Meta is a product and they want to make money off of me. And they do make money off of me every time I get on social media and I scroll. For them to either partner with parent groups or to have these, to create things like their trust, transparency, and control labs, their goal is to make sure that they can still make money. It's a company. That's their purpose, is to make money. Meta did not respond to questions about how much funding it provides to the National PTA and other parent and child safety groups. A spokeswoman from Meta said that the company is proud to work with entities that support parents in navigating online safety, and that all the entities clearly disclose on their websites that they receive support from Meta. And Meta discloses its partnerships with these entities on its Family Center and Help Center, for example. And Meta's logo is prominently displayed across the Trust, Transparency, and Control Labs website and in reports it produces. That, again, I'm going to get into some ethical questions, but one of the things that Meta is basically saying is that, listen, we're not being dishonest. We disclose that we have partnerships with these parent groups, and we disclose that our logo is on these websites, like their lab. Another thing that Meta is doing just in terms of their strategies, they just rolled out a new partnerships in schools, which is the Instagram School Partnership Program. This was announced at the ISTE Plus ASCD conference in San Antonio. I was there. I watched the Meta spokeswoman come out on stage, and she shared where this program started and what Meta is doing to help schools confront different social media issues that they're having while these kids are in school. The intent of the Instagram School Partnership Program is to invite schools to report safety issues directly to Instagram and offers educator training, positioning Meta as the solution to the very problem it created. That's the issue. Companies this group, ISTE, went to Meta because ISTE has a lot of school districts. They have school districts that are attending their conferences. They're hearing from school districts. And so ISTE goes to Meta and says, hey, we've got this problem. Schools have different bullying issues on social media accounts. A lot of these accounts are just pop-up. I don't even know what kids are calling them, but they're pop-up accounts. And how can we get rid of this issue? And so then Meta said, okay, we can solve that problem for you. So I'm going to get into some of the details of that partnership program and some of the questions that, to ask yourself. Let's just talk about National PTA's role first in all of this. So for more than a decade, Meta has been a sponsor of the National PTA. And while the PTA does not endorse Meta or its its products, its actions tell another story. And that's the conundrum. That is what PTA says, and I have heard them share, and I have been in meetings where I have asked my questions, and they have shared they do not endorse the product. And that is true. They do not endorse the product. And also what is true is that when you go to their social media page, they've got Meta backdrops behind them, or they are making statements in support of the Instagram teen accounts. So this is where, like, even as a parent, I will look at my child and I'll say, well, you're saying one thing and your actions are showing another, and it's confusing. So which one is it? That's something that we need to, like, as a parent, I have to figure out. So a couple of things that are in the article and also have been posted on social media. So these are things you can find, but they're here for you, and I'm going to tell you about them. So the National PTA president has praised Instagram teen accounts during Meta product rollouts. So Yvonne Johnson, who is the president of National PTA, has said, quote, given that parents today are grappling with the benefits and challenges of the internet and digital media for their teens, our association applauds Meta for launching Instagram teen accounts, with teens automatically placed in teen accounts and certain privacy settings turned on by default. This update demonstrates that Meta is taking steps to empower parents and deliver safer, more appropriate experiences on the platform. Did you know that Instagram has an Instagram teen account? And did you know that you can enroll your child in that Instagram teen account? What I experienced was that one of my teenagers, he was 16 and he had Instagram, and he had it before Instagram rolled this out. And so I had to enroll him. So I enrolled him in the Instagram teen account. Like, yeah, I'm a parent and my kid is in this. You know, I'm trying to have conversations with my kid about social media, and in the Instagram teen app is on my phone. And so I can see when my kid adds or has a new friend. But what is not working for me right now is the feature of the parent teen account issue. Like, I can't get it to open up properly. So there are some faulty things that are happening with this, like, teen account. And I gotta look into this, because the Instagram teen account is not working for me. Now, my younger child, who is 13, does not have social media, and she won't for a very long time. So here's something else about National PTA's role. The PTA has co-created parent guides and campaigns with Meta. Let me be really clear about what that means, though. No group can tell PTA what to put in their guides. PTA decides what material is put into informational content. What that means is that while Meta is a sponsor of National PTA, Meta cannot say, okay, National PTA, we want to make sure that you put, A, B, C, D in your content for the material that you are going to share with parents. Nope. Meta cannot do that. National PTA gets to make all of those decisions. And also, it just doesn't look great. I think it's the optics for a lot of people that they're struggling with. So National PTA has shared, quote, our approach is to seek a seat at the table anywhere decisions are being made about kids, and to be a strong, clear voice for parents and children. Our association does not endorse any social media platform, and we are clear about this in our communications. We are not seeking to promote the increased use of any particular app or platform, but we do believe that if families are going to allow their teens to be on a particular app or platform, then it is crucial for everyone in the household to know how to safely navigate the platform. Ultimately, these collaborations lend credibility to Meta's efforts, even as evidence mounts that its safeguards don't adequately protect kids. So this is the ethical dilemma that is stark. When a trusted parent advocacy group partners with big tech, whose voice is really being amplified? Parents or Meta's? And that's something that we have to answer for ourselves, like when we're talking about parents and schools and lawmakers and just even community members. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? And are we really accomplishing it with our efforts. So I'm going to dive into the Instagram School Partnership Program so you know exactly what it is. So as I mentioned, school districts are having an issue with, kids are on social media and then kids post on social media. And then some kids are creating these like terrible accounts where some kids are being like bullied online. And then this like plays out in schools, or it's happening during school hours. And so schools went to ISTE plus ASCD. This is kind of like this huge kind of like national group, just in terms of like ed tech and like professional development for schools in like the least amount of words that I can share. And they went and they were like, hey, this is the problem we have. And so ISTE plus ASCD said, hey, what if we can do, maybe we can do something about that. Let's go to Meta. So they go to Meta and Meta's like, yes, we can do something about that. And so at this conference that I attended in San Antonio, I watched Meta come out and they were kind of replaying this conversation they had. And then she said, we are launching the Instagram School Partnership Program. And this program invites schools to report safety issues directly to Instagram, but only schools that enroll in the partnership received prioritized support. Essentially, schools are being asked to join the program in order to get better customer service from the platform. While Meta presents this as a way to keep kids safe online, critics raise key questions, which are, why isn't support provided universally from the start? Does this give Meta leverage over schools to participate? And ultimately, who benefits most, the kids or the company? Again, this initiative highlights how big tech, Meta, increasingly positions itself as both the problem and the solution, raising ethical and policy concerns for educators, parents, and lawmakers alike. I will tell you, as I sat there and listened to Meta roll out this project, my eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger because I thought, wait, what? Meta, you've created this problem. And now you want school districts to solve this problem for you? And the only way that they are going to get better customer service from you, meaning when a school districts do this, they go through Instagram's customer service ticket and they put that like, hey, here's a problem, whatever that looks like, and they submit it. Schools often don't even hear back. I have heard that from local administrators where they go, okay, well, here's a program that Meta is offering, and we actually have experienced this problem, but also we don't hear back from Meta on these problems. So what we're hearing is if we enroll in this program, we're going to get better customer service. So these schools are placed in this dilemma. And again, Meta created the problem, and then it's like they're strong arming schools to say, okay, well, the only way to get benefits from our platform, which we know all kids are using, many kids are using, you have to enroll in this program. And then what it looks like externally is, hey, look, Meta has created this really great program. Isn't it awesome? They're partnering with schools. But then when you take a dive deeper, it's not as cool as they're trying to make it sound. It's not cool at all. They're making schools and administrators do one more thing in navigating all of this stuff, and again, a problem that they created. So who's watching all of this? This article comes from the Tech Transparency Project, which they uncover and document much of the story. I'll put it in the show notes so you can go directly there. And the Tech Transparency Project began in 2016 as the Google Transparency Project, and it was focusing on how Google influenced politics. But today it investigates all major tech companies. And this project is run by the Campaign for Accountability. It's a nonprofit watchdog group, and it's funded by foundations like, I feel like I'm going to botch this name, Omdiar Network, Open Society Foundations, Craig Newark Philanthropies, and the Skoll Foundation. If you know more about this, let me know. I am just kind of learning about this as I read about the article. I wasn't aware of this group. And the Tech Transparency Project, their work matters because it provides independent research that give policymakers, journalists, and parents the tools to understand how big tech is shaping our lives and our kids' futures. I just want to tell you about a personal experience in Idaho as it relates to big tech. So in 2024, I testified at the Idaho State Capitol in support of a bill that was sponsored by Senator Kevin Cook. And Senator Cook has done so much of what he does focuses on technology. And the bill was really simple: protect Idaho kids online. It was a smartphone bill that was going to create an auto on safety feature if a smartphone is purchased for a minor. And right now, that safety feature is on auto off. So the bill went through a couple of different iterations. Senator Cook took a lot of notes. And while I was sitting there the hearing room was packed with parents, advocates, and Idahoans speaking in favor of this bill. And also, big tech descended. They sent their lobbyists, mostly just via, like the Zoom link that they can get in, the online testimony option. And in 2024, the bill passed out of committee, but it died. Like Alexis Morgan is going to use the phrase, too many lawmakers chose big tech over our children. And for me, it's a painful reminder of how much influence these companies wield, even in a state like Idaho, where families overwhelmingly support stronger protections. Because it was a cell phone bill that was going to create an auto on feature, and you can go to Protect Young Eyes website and it will tell you how you can turn on that auto on feature. It's a long step process, but they've got that there for you. So it's a great resource for parents. I just want to tell you about school districts in Idaho that have a no cell phone policy. In the fall of 24, Superintendent Debbie Critchfield and Governor Brad Little released a statement saying, hey, school districts, we want you to create a cell phone policy for your school, and they didn't tell school districts how they should do it or what it should look like. And so it kind of looked different in yes, it looked very different. What we're seeing right now are that a lot of states are coming out with statewide policy. Idaho does not have a statewide policy. And also what I have found are that there's not very many districts that do a bell-to-bell no cell phone. The only ones that I could find, and I'd love to hear what your school district is doing. In Blaine County, the Blaine County School District, devices must be off and not on the student's person from the first bell to the last bell. The Valley View School District, which is in the Treasure Valley, is the school district that has the most strict cell phone ban, which I am hearing remarkable things about. And this is a hard cell phone ban. This is no cell phones, smartwatches, and notification-capable devices are banned during school hours. If you know a school employee from the Valley View School District, ask them how they feel about this. I have yet to meet any district employee that does not like this. They all like this policy. The West Ada School District, they have variation of policies. So when my child went to the middle school there, the middle school had a no cell phone policy, which was great. But on the high school, they are basically, those kids can access their phones during passing periods and then also during lunch. And I should also note that, all these school districts, Valley View, and I'm pretty sure Blaine is the same way. These school districts, they give exceptions for kids who need access to those for health reasons. It's important to just note that it's not like this hard no, that when, parents can go in there and chat with the school admin about it. And then I have also heard that the Kuna School District, which is in the Treasure Valley, is considering a similar policy to keep devices away at all times. So these policies, they reflect a growing statewide emphasis on creating focused, safe learning environments. So basically, as we explore policy impacts on students, these right here, Blaine County, Valley View, those are going to be the two for me that I think I'm guessing those are probably the most effective cell phone policies. And I would love to hear from those district admin about how those are going. So if you listen and you want to come on and talk about it, I would love to hear your takeaways from your employees on how your hard no cell phone policies are impacting just the entire school community's experience. Lastly, I just really wanted to kind of get into some ethical questions that basically this story from the Tech Transparency Project brings up. So 1, does taking money from big tech amount to an endorsement? Even if groups claim neutrality, do their actions send powerful signals? You got to ask yourself that question. It's a question that I have asked myself as a statewide nonprofit leader. Here's another question. What's the cost of a seat at the table? If it comes with corporate funding, can it truly be independent? So I get it. Like, I want a seat at the table, but does that come with a cost? Another question to ask. Should schools partner with Instagram to report safety issues when Instagram itself fuels those very harms? I was talking to a friend and he was telling me, he's like, yo, this is like the mafia in different parts of the world where they create a criminal problem. Like they might say to a business, pay us to protect you. And basically they're saying, we'll solve the problem that we created. And without us, you don't have a problem. And I was like, whoa, that kind of is like what I've heard when I hear different people talk about that. And so it's a question, like, should schools partner? And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying these are really important questions that need to be asked. Okay, here's another question. How can parents and lawmakers trust research funded by the same companies under investigation for harming kids? That's an ethical research question. Do you trust the studies that are coming out of this lab that Meta created and they're funding the research? Do you trust it? You got to ask yourself that question. And then at what point do we say enough is enough and demand accountability over access? These are our kids and we got to keep them safe. So why does this matter now? Well, Meta is not just responding to criticism. It is redefining the narrative through schools, nonprofits, and parent groups. If parents, policymakers, and educators don't ask these hard questions that I just shared, big tech will continue to shape the rules in ways that benefit corporations, not kids. I remind myself, Meta created the problem, and they're doing a subpar job in solving the problem. And then they demand schools partner with them in the problem that they created. This is not just about technology. It's about who gets to decide what is best for our kids. Do big tech executives get to decide? Or do we as parents and communities and lawmakers, do we get to decide what is best for kids? That's my breakdown of this big article that just came out. Again, go check out the article inside Meta's Spin Machine on kids and social media. This is all about big tech, Meta, and our kids. I'm curious about what you think about the partnerships, about the questions I posed. I'm curious about what is your school district's policy on cell phone bans, because surely while Meta does create social media and kids access social media on their phones, school districts that are saying we're not going to have cell phones during class time, we're going to do a hard no bell to bell. Are those schools dealing with less social media issues? Let me know. Hope you have a great day. And that's a wrap for today's episode of The Purple Zone. Thanks for being here. If you liked what you heard, leave a review on your fave podcast app or on YouTube. And from me to you, the heart of The Purple Zone says community is where policy comes to life.